Hi, welcome to Global One Media. Today I'm joined by Mark Lawson, who's the co-founder and CEO of ARMM, which is a firearms lifestyle platform focused on self-reliance and is disrupting the $51 billion consumer firearms and rugged outdoor recreational market. Hi, Mark. Thank you for joining us today. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you, Bastian, for your time today.
So to start off, could you give us a brief overview of yourself, of the company, and tell us a bit more how it all started?
Sure. So my background is primarily corporate finance and investment banking. I spent about 4 years with Morgan Stanley, New York, working in their M&A department, technology and healthcare. And that really gave me, the foundations and fundamentals to be able to really evaluate companies, opportunities. And I think the genesis of ARM was really the ability to take a very large industry, which is the 51 billion shooting and hunting and rugged outdoor market, and bring it into the 21st century, leveraging emerging technologies in an apolitical way and also impactful. Because one of the things that we found in terms of really being a void in the market is a lot of the processes around firearms are still largely paper-based.
Right.
And so that really, again, we saw the opportunity to really disrupt this market and then leverage emerging technologies, including, decentralized ledgers and blockchain technologies, and in a secure way, in an apolitical way, really for citizen self-service and to promote more responsible ownership. So for me, at this stage in my career, I really care about impact.
Right.
And this was really what we like to call the other epidemic, which takes close to 40,000 lives per year. And I think, really using technology to really make an impact in that, in that situation, and doing it in a way where we're not taking a side. Like, we don't care who you vote for. We just care about, promoting more responsible ownership and people to do their part to ensure that your firearms do not end up in the hands of the people, the person that could be the next domestic terrorist or has criminal intent.
So, what can you tell us about the company's unique story and more specifically about the firearm lifestyle platform, and why do you think that can be a solution to promote a safer gun culture in the US?
So that's a very good question. I think that, what's unique about our platform is we are targeting the highest growth segment of the consumer firearms market. These are millennials, they're women, they care about community, they care about safety, and they have these ubiquitous devices in their hands at all times. So a big part of our thesis, Bastian, is if you're using technology to manage all aspects of your life, you should be doing it in, for something that you have such a deep-rooted connection and a visceral response to. And so we're very intentional about our target market. If you look at what happened with COVID over the last, let's say, 2 years, it's a confluence of unique events that really disrupted the consumer firearms market. You had fear and panic from COVID-19. You add the social unrest from, the death of George Floyd, the narrative around defunding the police, record unemployment. And then you had close to 10 million people purchase a gun for the first time. And that's trending 40% women with a focus on health, self-defense. So this has created a massive void in the market in terms of education, which we're filling that void with our ARM Academy, which is really safety training courses focused on education to promote more responsible ownership. The second piece of that is we have a very exciting collaboration with IBM that we haven't really discussed much. And the reason why IBM partnered with us is we're using their Hyperledger fabric. And this is really a first of its kind solution to create and develop a firearms background check on a smartphone using Hyperledger fabric. And this is really a decentralized solution. Statistically, in certain key states, it has been shown that one life is saved for every 10 background checks that are conducted. So this is not something that is political. It is proven. And we think this is something that can really put a dent in this epidemic and make tremendous impact. So it's something that we are really excited about. And I think our strategy has really been to build community, become a trust agent, and then we'll start to launch these services, which is no different than what Facebook did. They became this great social community, and then they launched the marketplace, et cetera, et cetera. So we're trying to be smart and tactical and strategic about how we roll out different features. And I think a big part of what we're promoting in terms of responsible ownership is the more you engage with the platform, you earn points for all of these activities that we believe represent more responsible ownership. Then you'll then be able to kind of cash in and monetize with some of your favorite partners. So, we fundamentally believe in data privacy. It's very important, but we also think it's important for everyone to do their part as a responsible owner to help kind of address some of these issues that are occurring right now in the United States in a political way.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. And can you tell us more about your plans for scaling the ARM platform and the app?
Sure. So I think to date, we've been very excited about some of the growth that we've seen with like very limited marketing spend. So we have very good visibility into, confirming some of the assumptions in our financial model, including our customer acquisition costs. So now we see a very clear path to scale this to 1 million users. And that really is just kind of capital. And that's another reason why we'd be looking to raise capital sometime soon. And so I think how we scale this is primarily via a digital marketing spend, because we are targeting a very specific demographic. And the truth is, given all of the restrictions around the social platforms and firearms, we believe we have a competitive advantage and a window to capitalize, because you cannot, there are a lot of restrictions in terms of what you can post with Instagram, what you can post with TikTok, Facebook. And so we're very excited about some of the very exciting, the early kind of wins that we're seeing in terms of the growth of user-generated content. I think at our peak, our monthly active users or engagement was 40%, which is unprecedented. I think if you look at comparative social platforms, I believe TikTok is probably 1.5% in terms of their monthly active engagement, and Facebook is probably 0.54. Of course, they have 1 billion users. So as you continue to scale to, the more users you have, generally that will come down. But for us, that's confirmation that we've created this safe space of like-minded enthusiasts that really have nowhere else to go. And I think the other thing that I really need to stress as a differentiator is about a year ago, we pivoted to what we call an autonomous ecosystem, in that we're running off of a set of private servers. And why this is important is, for some reason, if we're ever deplatformed or kicked out of the App Store or Google Play, you as a user, the app will still work native on your phone. So that's very important that we're now part of this like autonomous system running off of private servers, because it really mitigates our risk of being deplatformed. It's incredibly, especially important given the sector that we're operating in.
Very, very cool. So as a last question, what factors do you think will help ARM outperform the market, and what exciting development should investors be looking out for in the coming months?
Yeah, so that is a great question. I think we're at a very unique time on that, in that there is so much uncertainty globally in terms of the whole macroeconomic picture, whether we're in the recession in the US or not. I am far from an economist, but we have done a fair bit of research, Bastian, going back to 2008, previous, financial crises, economic downturns. And what we've seen is, at times of unrest and potential unrest and uncertainty, people think more about home defense, right? And so we've generally seen firearms-related companies in the capital markets perform better. Firearms company sales spike because when people get nervous about civil unrest, they think about protecting their families. So we think that there's a strong argument for us being a defensive play in times of economic uncertainty. And so that's why we think that we're very excited about us being positioned as a differentiated investment opportunity at a time where many people are very nervous about, inflation being at a 40-year high. We have a war in the Ukraine. There's so much uncertainty, but the one constant that we've seen going back 20 years is how firearms and firearms-related companies, continue to outperform the market.
Right. Well, Mark, that's some really interesting and exciting information. We very much look forward to following the next updates from ARM. So thanks a lot for your time today.
Thank you so much, Bastian.